be a good day to be an Arsenal supporter. Noni Madueke has joined the Gunners. Are you excited for that signing, Jules?
I think you have to be positive. I think it's a good signing. We can debate the price, of course, and the fee, and it's a lot of money for somebody who was a starter for Chelsea, obviously, but didn't maybe have the numbers that would back up the transfer fee. I get that, but there's a time when you build a squad at a top club where you spend that money on players who would strengthen your squad. I don't know if Madueke is going to be a starter. If he plays on the right-hand side, he's going to be Bukayo Saka's backup. We know that. If he plays on the left-hand side, not his favorite position, he can do a good job there. But this is how you build a squad to be competitive in all competitions. If you're Arsenal, look at other teams like City and Liverpool. They are expensive squads. All the players have cost a lot of money. If you want to upgrade a position, it costs you at least £50 million. This is the way it goes. So I think he's a good addition to the squad. He's going to bring different options, versatility, character. He's a young player, England international. There's great potential there and talent there. So I think it's good for Arsenal to have a player like that on their books in that squad, because I think he's going to also push someone like Bukayo Saka, for example, to always want to be better, because he will have a player, unlike last season where there was no real backup, at least he will be someone who's there who can play instead of him if he's not performing.
It's all about squads, isn't it? You're not going to win the league if you don't have the squad. Liverpool had the squad last year.
City.
The first 11 was great. City have generally always had it. Chelsea, when they were successful, big squad. I know they've got a big squad now, but they actually went too far at one point. And I think for Arsenal, this is about polishing this young man. This is a young guy who, I think, if he gets the right people behind him, can make a difference for Arsenal. He's not, as Joe said, not on a weekly basis. Maybe unfortunately for him. Maybe I'm wrong, but the one thing I think about with Noni Madueke is whenever you watched him play for Chelsea, particularly when he was full of confidence. Whenever he gets the ball into his feet in a wider area on that right-hand side, his first thought is to get at the fullback. It's like almost like a throwback to an old-fashioned winger. And he backs fullbacks off. And by that, I mean that some of them, they're scared to get too tight to him because his first thought is just to get at you. And you don't see that very often these days. You see a lot of wide players, they call it inverting, we call it tucking in, and you see a lot of them playing on one side because their stronger foot is the other and they like to come inside. He can do a bit of that. But what I really like about him is when he gets one-on-one and he drives at defenders, because he's got good pace, he's got good balance, he's got good feet, he's a talented young man. And on the face of it, you just don't get good quality youngsters now for 10 or 15 million. There's maybe a few around, but there's not many. So you have to pay a little bit over the odds to get players in that are going to beef up your squad. And if somebody does get an injury, like Shaka had last year, for 3 months plus, they had nobody really that was able to come in. Young Wanyeri did a decent job. Trossard does a decent job. Raheem Sterling was a bust. So if that happens and Arsenal want to stay in the title race, they need people that can come in and almost get to the level of what the ones that have been injured. So on the face of it, I think it's good business.
I agree in that when I thought Liverpool's title challenge in earnest dropped off with the Bukayo Saka injury. You see how much Arsenal. You see how much that impacted us as a football club. So for that reason only, to keep Liverpool at the very least in touch, when they're chasing, they needed backup on that side. I thought it was a good side, a talented footballer.
All right, well, positive news for Shaka, because this probably means that he doesn't have to worry about Alexander Isak leaving Newcastle for Liverpool, because it seems like the Reds are focusing on this man, Hugo Ekitike. I did a better job than Dan saying his name on this one. I only spent all night saying Ektitike, Ektitike.
And the pronunciation stakes.
Oh, yeah.
That's a low bar.
That's a low bar.
You're better than Dan Thomas at pronunciation.
Wow, look at positive Craig. I don't know how to act. Oh, my days.
No, I was actually putting you down a little bit.
Oh, a little bit.
It wasn't that good. He can't say it.
He can't say it, but
Chalanoglu is another one. He butchers it.
He butchers it. Well, anyway. We're talking about Frenchmen. Jules, we have to come to you for this one. Do you like this move for the Frenchman?
I love Hugo Ekitike. I think he's a wonderful player, still very young, can do everything on the pitch. So I do like him a lot. Is he ready for Liverpool? Is he ready for the Premier League? That's a different story, really, and debate, because remember, he went to PSG from Reims and he was not ready for that. He was not ready for that level, for how disciplined you have to be, the kind of how demanding everything is when you join a top club like that. And he was much younger, obviously. I think he learned a lot from what went wrong in Paris, and we see some of the stats. He didn't play a lot, didn't do well when he played. He felt that pressure. It was hard for him to come on and play 10, 15 minutes and perform well. But in Frankfurt and in the Bundesliga, where things are different than in Ligue 1 or in the Premier League, that was a league for him. Loads of space, defenders who don't really defend that well. So that was perfect for him. He will have to step up again if he goes to Liverpool in a team that is performing very well, but in a team that is Mo Salah's team and plays for Mo Salah on Mo Salah's qualities. So it will be different. And now there's Wirtz as well. And this team will be Wirtz and Salah's team before being Ektitike's team. So there's a lot of things that he will need to learn and adapt to. But yes, he's a wonderful signing, but he's a very expensive signing too.
Yeah, but I mean, when you go into a club, the pressure of Liverpool, which Darwin Nunes has not been able to come through after a standout season before signing for Liverpool at Benfica, he's proven that he's raw and he's not been able to handle it. And so they're looking for somebody that does a little bit of everything, as Jules said, plus scores the goals. And even though there'll be a big pressure to step up, I think it is somewhat going to be a little easier for him if he signs. When you look at the players that are going to be playing around them, you know, we talked about Man United a lot at the start of the show and how frustrating their signing policy continues to be. And I think sometimes if you're a player like Ektitike and you step into a Man United squad, as some has, players have found it even more difficult because they're not playing well as a team. So you're not getting the service, you're not getting in there and being confident. If you go to Liverpool, barring a disaster, you know, you're going to have Florian Wirtz poking those balls through for you. You're going to have Mo Salah playing those beautiful balls in behind. You're going to have all the good things that Liverpool have to offer at the moment as the best team in England, as they were by quite some stretch last year. So there are the pressures of going in there. Of course there are in this step up. But it helps when you're going in to play in a settled side and a side that has a lot of quality around you, which Liverpool have. He makes the right runs, he makes the right decisions, then he gets in on the end of stuff. Because Liverpool have arguably the best players in the Premier League from middle to front at poking those little passes through. So if this move does happen, it's down to him. As I said, Darwin Nunes has not been able to handle the pressure of being consistent, and they're looking for somebody that's going to come in and do that, and I think he's got every chance.
And you're coming into a team that's won the Premier League without that, with Darwin Nunes as kind of your recognised number 9. I think Hugo Ekitike is a far better talent than Darwin Nunes. And while he's young, and to Jules' point about PSG, surely he's matured since then. And I thought the second half of last season, he quite clearly showed that. Once Marmoush moved away, I thought Ekitike very good with Marmoush and equally so without him. And I thought that kind of showed his maturity. And to Craig's point, you're coming into a side that's balanced, that's settled, that has an identity, that has a trust, most importantly, in their coach who comes knocking on your door. I think he fits in quite seamlessly. I think it's a really
He's a better all-round player. I'm not comparing him to Darwin, but you know, I'm just saying that this has been a big position for them. You know, it's a position Arsenal have tried to fit, it's a position Chelsea, Man United, and Man City went out, you know, got themselves a strike. Ektitike is Joe said, there's a little bit of everything in there. And you look at Nunes, what Nunes brought. He brought aggression, he brought pace and physicality running in behind, and he would have a scrap with centre-half. But his link-up play when he came short, which wasn't very often, just wasn't very good. If we're being honest about it, it was raw, it was off the cuff, and most of the time, it was out with the rest of what Liverpool were trying to do. This lad does a little bit of everything, but his link-up play and coming shorter, and his understanding and his touch when defenders are tight to him are a lot better. So on the face of it, they would get an all-round better player. And let's be honest about it, Liverpool haven't signed with their recruitment policy too many bad players that haven't performed in the last few years.
Yeah, Jules, well, speaking of former PSG starlets, Xavi Simons, let's talk about him because he's been linked as well with a move to the Premier League, specifically in the London area. What's the story there?
The story is that he wants to move away from Leipzig, who, as we see on the graphic, signed him actually permanently not that long ago, and yet he already wants out. The thing is, I think the Xavi Simons camp thought there would be a lot of clubs wanting him this summer, and so far he's been really quiet around Xavi Simons. I think when Bayern Munich missed out on Wirtz and now lost Musiala for quite a long time, they thought about him. English clubs, as you said, and Premier League clubs, whether that's Spurs and Chelsea, are also looking at him, but nothing too serious right now. And even on that left-hand side, a team like Arsenal, for example, who need a player to play as a left winger, whether he's an inverted one, like Craig was saying earlier, or pure left winger, he's not really on their radar so much for now, because I think it's expensive. Again, 70 million euros, around that mark from Leipzig. Somebody who's been injured in the last 2 seasons for quite a lengthy time, that has incredible qualities. There's no doubt of his talent, but not being really consistent enough showing that talent. He's capable of glimpses of genius things, but also times where he doesn't have really any impact on games. So there's still a lot of work to do, I think, before they're finding a club for him.